Hi, my name is Kate McMahon, and I'm your host today for What's Happening. And I would now like to introduce our guests. We have Amy Usowski, and she is the Conservation Administrator for the town of Harwich. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And Katherine Garofoli, and Katherine is the Director of the Dennis Conservation Trust.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And we also have Tyler Maikath. Tyler is the Stewardship and Outreach Coordinator for both the Harwich and Dennis Conservation Trusts.
Yes, thank you, Kate.
Thanks for being here. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? Amy, can you?
Sure. I'm the Town of Harwich Conservation Administrator. So in general, the Conservation Department and the Commission is in charge of upholding state and local wetlands protection regulations. We also take care of our town conservation lands, take care of the town gardens, do a lot of work with homeowners, engineers, and contractors, making sure that what they want to do on environmentally sensitive properties is regulatable, is the proper way to do it. There's a lot of education involved. And then on top of that, we get to do these really fun springtime mostly, but conservation events such as cleanups and giveaways, and we'll get into more of that later.
Great, thank you. Katherine?
And again, I'm the Director of the Dennis Conservation Trust. The Dennis Conservation Trust is a nonprofit member-based land trust representing the town of Dennis. We currently manage and maintain over 600 acres across town. And it is a lot. It's a lot, and it's broken up into several different properties, whether that's something that we own outright or held in conservation restriction. Some of our other initiatives are ways to engage the general public in appreciating the environment. We have a wonderful volunteer steward program, and we look for different events like walks and talks to get people really excited about the nature around them. And one of our new signature events is turning out to be Dennis Conservation Celebration that we'll talk about more.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm Tyler Maikath, and I'm Stewardship and Outreach Coordinator for the Harwich and Dennis Conservation Trusts. My role is split between the two trusts. It's a new partnership that developed recently, and we're all pretty happy with the way things are going and excited about it. My role is very similar with both land trusts. They are both nonprofit land trusts that protect open space, respectively, in Harwich and Dennis. So what I do is I work a lot with volunteers on property management projects and monitoring of the properties. We also have several important citizen science projects that we work on. In Harwich, we do a volunteer herring count on the Herring River, where we count herring continuously for 2 months between April and June. And as a result of my split role, I'm involved in the planning of both cleanup days, the Tortoise Trash in Harwich, which we'll talk about, and Dennis Conservation Celebration.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the threads that I've heard is education and volunteerism amongst the various organizations that you're with. Have you all found a great way to find these volunteers or engage them?
Yes, we have, there's a little bit of a difference between some town volunteers in some capacity and trusts. In a lot of town capacity, it's you're a member of a committee, be it regulatory or advisory. We use media as a way to outreach to people. A lot of word of mouth, putting signs up in our conservation areas, asking for volunteers. But we have a lot of wonderful groups that help us out. And in addition, I think the trust and the town share a lot of the same people as volunteers. We look at the town as a whole. It's not town versus nonprofit. We all work together for the same common goal, so our volunteers do as well.
That's great.
I think for us, it's we have a lot of different volunteer opportunities. A lot of it is management based, but we try and reach out to everybody looking for their strengths, whether it be helping us with events or office administration or working out on the land. There are lots of different ways that people can engage with the nonprofit land trusts because, quite frankly, we wouldn't be able to function without the volunteers. We have limited staff and resources, and so the people that help us out are really more valuable than any sort of dollar amount can say.
That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have several key volunteers with both land trusts, and they do everything from helping me with the herring count in Harwich to doing chainsaw work out on the properties, to monitoring, to helping with trail work, etc. And in Harwich, at Harwich Conservation Trust, we actually went through a certification program through the Massachusetts Service Alliance. And so when we have a prospective volunteer contact us, we actually do a little sit down with them to determine what the right fit might be for the organization and the individual.
We're able to tap into two really great sources of volunteers, actually three. One is AmeriCorps Cape Cod, and then the other is Senior Corps, which is based out of their Elder Service office on Route 134.
Yes.
And then we're able to utilize the United Way's Cape Cod Volunteers website a lot. So.
Well, that's great. Wonderful ways for you all to connect.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you're always still looking for more volunteers.
Always.
There's
Always.
always more work to do
Yeah.
in a nonprofit.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you share any trends that you've seen in recent years regarding pollution in our towns?
As if any indication for the past few years of Tour de Trash shows, nips are a predominant source of pollution. They either inadvertently or advertently get tossed out of vehicles and onto roadsides. Plastic bags seem to be on the decline as the towns are adopting the the plastic bag bans across the Cape. Plastic bags are detrimental not only to wetland environments but also to the animals that are in them. So we are seeing a reduction in that, but increase in other types.
Yeah, that's great. Anything that you all are seeing in the trust lands that's different?
I
changes?
feel like we frequently have volunteers out on the properties, and we're frequently getting calls about the litter problems in the areas. I mean, on any given day, we'll go out to a property that's been cleaned up a week prior, and there's already a lot of litter back there. So it just seems to become a more present problem in our community.
It does seem like there's still room for education on this issue.
Yeah.
Because it isn't a problem that's going away, unfortunately.
And it's not just the garbage. It's also household items that people, instead of bringing them to the dumps, they're illegally dumping for various reasons. And it becomes a little bit of a tax on town resources to pick it up too, as well as an environmental detriment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for land trusts, we don't have the heavy equipment that a town has. So if somebody is doing some illegal dumping on our land, it's really a significant problem, and we have to ask the town usually to step in and help.
We're
So,
happy to help.
and they are happy to help, but it's even more taxing for us because we don't have the equipment available.
Another step. So what events are you all hosting or you're aware of here on the Cape?
You want to
Do
go
you
first?
wanna go?
Sure. So the town of Dennis, the DPW and the DNR, the Department of Public Works and the Department of Natural Resources, have partnered with the Dennis Conservation Trust to host a second event. Last year it was broken into two different events, and this year we've combined them to make it easier and more enticing for people to come. It's called Dennis Conservation Celebration. It's scheduled for April 28th at Johnny Kelley Park. Registration starts at 9:30. The first half of the day is a townwide trash pickup where people can come, register, and be given routes to go and pick up trash along the routes. And they're going to receive, the first 100 people will receive a free t-shirt and some refreshments, and they'll also receive gloves and trash bags and pickers. And then once they go out to their route, they'll be able to pick up the trash there. They'll be able to leave the bags along the side of the road because the DPW is able to go and pick them up with a trash truck. So that makes things a lot easier. And then everybody's going to come back to Johnny Kelley Park on Old Bass River Road for a celebration where we're going to be having some lunch with Ken Foster and the X Grill. We've had generous donations of food from Dennis Public Market, Stop and Shop, and Ring Brothers. We're anticipating at least 100 people show up. Last year we had 75 people at the trash pickup, and this year there seems to be a lot more interest in participating in that. And then once we go through and have lunch, there's going to be an opportunity for people to talk with other local nonprofit organizations to learn about the important work they're doing across the Cape in sort of like an educational exhibition along the walkway at Johnny Kelley Park. AmeriCorps will be there with their puppet show. We're going to have a poetry reading, and then Tyler will be leading a walk over at the Indian Lands Conservation Area at the end of the day. So it's very family friendly. It's open to anyone. We have family friendly litter pickup routes, and we have really a great lineup of organizations to help us. And so it's going to be a really nice day to really get people excited about nature in Dennis on April 28th.
It sounds great. It
Thanks.
sounds like you've put together an amazing event,
Thank you.
doing some good work, and then helping to create community amongst the folks that come and volunteer.
Absolutely.
It's great.
In Harwich, on the same day, Tyler, feel free to jump in here if I
Sure.
forget anything.
Yeah.
We have the 4th annual Harwich Tour de Trash. It's going to be at the Harwich Community Center. It's put on both by the town and the trust, various town departments, conservation, highway, with help from public safety, and as I said, the Harwich Conservation Trust, as well as AmeriCorps Cape Cod. And as I said, Harwich Community Center. We're going to start at about 9:30 in the morning. You can pre-register online now for specific routes. This is primarily a roadside cleanup, but we are going to do, you know, the town gardens, the bike trail, beaches, things like that. You can sign up online ahead of time so you get the route that you want. We provide everything for you when you
Yep.
get to the community center. Same as Dennis, the pickers, the gloves, the bags, things like that. And we'll send you out on your route. And when you come back, we have lunch provided for you, courtesy of Stop and Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be raffle prizes. We're seeing who can collect, or guess how many nips essentially are collected. This will be a prize for that. There'll be a prize for students who come out. We really want to get the younger generation involved in these cleanups and bring their families out and do this. And trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Am I missing anything, Tyler?
We have some really generous sponsors for the event. Stop and Shop, NOS Disposal donates a dumpster for recycling materials.
Wonderful.
The Hot Stove Saloon in Harwichport has been a big supporter of ours.
Very much.
And I may be forgetting someone, but there's a lot of community support, and we're really excited to keep building the event.
Yep.
And get the younger generation out.
Yeah.
And
It's important.
I think people have this reaction to seeing kids out picking up trash, and hopefully they connect the dots there
Yeah.
with their own behavior.
Right.
We
Yeah,
had
that'd be great.
over 100 people last year, and we hope to eclipse that this year.
It's great.
So
It's wonderful. And for our viewers, we do actually have a blog post on our website. So with all of the event information, and it includes the link so that folks can sign up for your
awesome,
event in advance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Are there any ongoing events that you are aware of in your specific towns outside of these specific Earth Day events?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the Dennis Conservation Trust, we are always looking for people to help us monitor our lands, going out a couple of times a year, walking our properties just to make sure that we don't have any issues there, if there are any trees down on trails, if there's any significant dumping and things like that. So we're always providing opportunities for volunteers to get out on the land and appreciate nature. And then we also have a number, like I said before, of lectures and talks and walks that we host that's on the Dennis Conservation Trust Facebook page and website, talking about the different, our more recent one coming up is a rain garden lecture with APCC on May 15th. And then on May 19th, we're hosting a tour of the blueberry farm, Holcomb Rock Blueberry Farm, to talk about the growing operation that they have there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Reaching all sorts of groups, I would think,
Definitely.
of people who live on the Cape with
Yeah.
those various activities.
We have an ongoing series of Native American and history walks that have been going on, and they'll be continuing to go on in the spring and fall. The information is on the Harwich Conservation Trust website. There's a walk this Saturday, correct? There's a walk in Dennis as part of that series this Saturday. We have the herring count going on, which is a citizen science project, and it's been going on for nearly 10 years, I believe. And we have volunteers that count river herring at a flume in Harwich. And the information is really important because it actually gets submitted to the Division of Marine Fisheries, and they use the information to estimate the population of river herring that are migrating in that watershed. So it has all kinds of implications for regulatory matters because the taking of river herring is prohibited. And we have really great volunteers that are out there in the wind, in the rain, in the snow, in early April, all kinds of conditions. And
great.
it's something that's really fun to be a part of. There is still some room for some volunteerism there. If people are interested, they can contact me and I can provide them with the information.
Great. We'll add that to our blog post too.
Great.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
There's always the opportunity to volunteer with the town if people
Yeah.
are interested. Again, the Conservation Commission, which is my committee, we meet twice a month, and it is a regulatory board. We also have committees like the Trails Committee. It's not an official committee, but it is a group of people. We meet. I meet with them once a month. We talk about the state of the different trails. They let me know what's going on there, so the town can tackle any issues that might be going on our conservation lands that we can't, a single person really can't take care of. And then we also have committees like the Real Estate and Open Space Committee for people who are interested in working with the town to try to figure out what lands would be wise to acquire for various purposes. So there's lots of other ways that you can volunteer with the town as well. So if anybody has any questions, feel free and contact me.
That's great. That's great. Well, I thank you for being here today. Is there anything else that we would like to add?
I just have one thing. Just because you can't make it out for the litter pickup at Dennis Conservation Celebration, we're encouraging anybody to come and go through the exhibition of the organizations. There's going to be 18 organizations, and I don't want people to think that if they don't participate in the trash pickup that they can't come. We're happy to have everybody join us for the celebration.
That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'd like to put a little plug in for another event we have next week. On the 27th, which is Friday of April, we have the Arbor Day seedling giveaway for the town of Harwich. Every year we give away hundreds of seedlings for Arbor Day, and Arbor Day is that Friday. So if people want to come, and they are free, if people want to come pick up, there's pawpaw seedlings, it's a small tree, flowering white dogwood seedlings, 9-bark shrubs, Indian currant shrubs, and if you don't have room at your house for shrubs and trees, because if you're like me and you plant everything up, at least I'm working on it in my new house, we have wildflower seedlings as well being offered. So it's at the Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Friday the 27th, starting at 8:30. It is first come, first serve. Because they are free and we only have a limited number, we're limiting it to one of each per person. And then if people want to come towards the end of the morning, around 11:30 to see what we might have left, we'll give the rest away then. But it is not limited to Harwich residents. It's something the town likes to do to increase diversity and just really give back a little bit to the citizens of the town.
That's great. Sounds like a wonderful event.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for what you all do to beautify Cape Cod.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much. Appreciate it.